Howdy folks, I am here again with videos that no one is watching. I'm going to be doing 3 unboxings today. They're all Playmates Star Trek figures from the 90s. 2 of them are replacements for figures that I had and have lost or misplaced, and one is new. So I had the first 2 figures on a display shelf as recently as 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not sure what happened to them. All I know is they didn't get filed in with my other Star Trek figures. Maybe I'll stumble on them eventually. Maybe they're lost to time. The first is Guinan. So I love Guinan. She's one of my favorite characters in TNG. And I know that there's at least one other, I think only one other Guinan action figure, which I believe is a repaint, maybe with some minor sort of costume sculptural changes that came out, I believe, for Star Trek Generations. It's a sort of pinkish mauve maybe outfit, but this is the original Guinan. As always, these are perfectly serviceable cards, but not for carded collectors who want, mint in box, mint in mint box. There's some damage down here, but it doesn't matter because I do not keep things in the box. So here we go. I'm going to remove Guinan from our packaging, which she has been in since I was a child. Excuse the sniffling. I sneezed before I started my first attempt at this video and thought I had it under control. I guess I don't. So first things first, the card, which is fine. I will probably hang on to it because it's, flat. Doesn't really take anything to keep. First thing is the base, which has the nice little Guinan sticker is warped there. It's not put on straight, so that's a little kind of funny. But I have a ton of these. I think the stickers have probably come off most of them. And now for the bubble. Rather dusty, showing signs of its age. We have the Skybox card of Guinan still in the wrapping, of course, which is nice. And then we have the accessories. We have the 3D chess set, so that this will come in handy in just a moment. I remember this, but I'm struggling to remember an accessory for an action figure as on its own as bland as this. This is a serving tray. You can see it has a little indentations for the other 2 accessories, and little runners here. But this is it. This is an accessory in itself. And then we have 2 mugs, sort of traditional little mug and a more alcohol seeming mug with an inexplicably square base. So I will go ahead and see if I can pop these in there. The base on this is not, the cut is not really very precise, and as I was sort of afraid of, it's not really fitting very well or at all into the base. I can kind of cram it in there, but I'd really have to shave it down if I wanted to be good about it. And this base is actually a little too big, but it kind of works. There you have both of the things on the tray. If you somehow had a magical 5th accessory of a bowl or something, I guess you could put it on there. Those are the accessories. I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch with a bartender, but that's what we have. And then here she is, beautiful Guinan. All the articulation is what you'd expect. She's a little stiff from her time in the box, but all the joints so far seem okay. Sculpt is not too bad. I mean, none of, as I've said before, none of the figures from the Playmates Star Trek look exactly like their counterparts, but the style and the simplicity and even the size all make that sort of inconsequential. You can tell she's Guinan. Maybe you can't tell that she's Whoopi Goldberg, but I have to say it's a better likeness than a lot of them. So there she is. I'm glad to have her back, and hopefully she will bestow some wisdom. Second is Ambassador Spock. I love this figure. This has been one of my favorite figures for a long time. And again, I mislaid it somewhere along the line, so here we go. Opening him up. Off the card. So satisfying. I remember this well. I may even still have this part, but his base is the Vulcan, oh crap, I forget the name now, IDIC symbol. There you go. That's nice. And we have, again, separate. This is the older card with like a ton of figures on the back. I have or had a lot of these. Dathan, Guinan. I used to have Kaylar. I need to replace that. I don't know where she went. Troy Locutus, Beverly Crusher, Borg. And then this is also where they had the season 1 outfit versions of the main crew, which I never had. I don't think I ever had any of those, actually. I never wanted them. Also, LaForge and dress uniform I used to have. A couple on here that I've never had that are on my list, including the Benzite, Lore, Commander Sela, Wesley Crusher Cadet. Captain Scott, I have him. And Klingon Warrior Worf I've always wanted to, and still do not have. So here we have the bubble. Take him out. So the time that passed between Guinan and Ambassador Spock was the time that passed between a trading cart and a space cap, which is a POG. I'm going to leave it for now in its little, you can see it's perforated around here. You pop it out and there's your POG for when you're playing POGs with all your cool elementary school friends, like I did 30 years ago. Accessories. These are not bad accessories. Just like with Guinan, these are the typical, all the Playmates Star Trek figures have these single color accessories. Sometimes you get a variation where, you could get, all one color, all another. There's always all one color per carded figure. So here is a, oh crap, I forget what these things are called. Laptop. Klingon monitor. Okay, works for me. This has a slightly different sticker than the general next gen ones. It may also be a different sculpt. I'd have to pull them out. I know there's a few variations. So this has the Klingon, or the Romulan bird of prey. No, it's the Klingon bird of prey. Okay, been a little bit. Let's see what this is called. Romulan phaser rifle, cool. So if you recall, and this I have not forgotten, this figure is from the next gen arc where Spock was on Romulus, leading a sort of underground movement of Romulans who were interested in the Vulcan philosophy, ideology, who were sort of hoping to that the split wasn't just a one-time thing. So the Romulan accessories kind of make sense. What else do we have? Vulcan book. Okay, so it has the IDIC on the cover, a little chipped thing here. That's nice. I like a book as an accessory. Very Star Trek. And Romulan pad, also with a little sticker, which is nice. And then the main attraction, Ambassador Spock. Love this figure. Very basic. The Romulan sort of tunic. I think this head sculpt is used for. It may have just been for this Spock, but maybe if they did like a Star Trek 6 in uniform, which they probably did, it might have been this too. I love him. Basic, simple, perfect. Last up, this is a new one for me. It's been high on my wish list for a long time. We have the second release, not counting dress uniforms or whatever, second basic release of Captain Benjamin Sisko. I guess this is probably the first release of Captain Benjamin Sisko. The other one would have been Commander, but this is the Sisko that I know and love. Every time I rewatch DS9, it's weird the first couple of seasons, seeing him with the hair and without the beard and all that. I mean, it's still great, but this is Sisko in my head, and Sisko is my favorite Star Trek captain. This is from someone who grew up watching Next Gen from the first episode, who watched the original series even younger with my dad, but Sisko is it for me. This is the later, when it was just Star Trek branded, so you can see on the back they have little panels for each. They got the original series, Kirk in environmental suit, Gorn Captain, Mugato, Generations, Beverly Crusher, DS9, Sisko, and Kern. I also have Kern. And then Seska's Cardassian and Tom Paris mutated from Voyager. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. My Redbubble money is coming in handy. Let's pop them open. There it is. Right. Again, first things first. I have the action base. My favorite contradiction in terms. I like this because it doesn't have a sticker, and it's the DS9 sort of era insignia, which I always have preferred. That's very nice. We already did the card. Oh, I forgot to say, the reason that it is serendipitous that Guinan comes with 3D chess is because of Spock, who I believe is one of the first people we ever see play 3D chess in Star Trek. I can't remember exactly, but I'm thinking it's the scene where he's playing with McCoy, and McCoy gets pissed off, or playing with Kirk, and Kirk, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, this is a nice little addition. Okay, got Sisko in the bubble. Let's take him out. So they have returned by this point to the Skybox card, because in case you didn't know, Pogs did not have a long shelf life. Pretty nice card, nice thick stock, I can tell. Keep it in here for now. There he is. Accessories. These are still a solid color block, but they are slightly less obviously absurd color. These are a sort of light matte gray. And let's see what they call these. Compression phaser rifle. Long range phase energy ordnance. Very military, very DS9. Struggling with the old tape here. Okay, Starfleet Type 2 phaser, obviously. Personal issue defensive armament. I wonder why that's ordnance and this is armament. Then we have interphasic compensator, warp coil realignment device. That's cool. That's actually kind of unlike anything else I've seen, which is unusual. I've seen some variation of these many times before. And then probably the coolest accessory, desktop monitor, Starship Library Computer Interface Terminal. This is cyberpunk as hell. Like, this is what I think of when I read Neuromancer or read Neuromancer as a teenager or whatever, what a deck might be like. Cyberspace deck. It's not. I mean, it's a console, but it looks like, I mean, there's this indentation on the bottom. It looks like this is meant to actually slot into something, like in a playset. I don't know if there's anything it was actually made for, but it's a cool ass accessory. I don't know. It's, to me, this is the only thing is I wish there were a sticker or something. I mean, obviously there's not going to be paint detail because there never was on accessories, but stickers would be great. This would be a cool thing to customize. So that's that, and then we have the star of the show, Captain Benjamin Sisko. Again, likeness is fine. All I really care about is, does he look like Sisko standing on my desk? And he does. You can see that the sort of the quality of the plastic has changed since the beginning. I think probably technically it's better. It's a little shinier, feels a little harder. I mean, obviously none of them are soft, but there is a sort of like, you can look at the difference in glare even on the earlier Guinan and this figure. And he has the standard articulation. Everything seems to be in good shape. Head turns nicely. And he looks great. I'm really happy with him. He's like an iconic character, an iconic image. This figure, I will be happy to put him up with my Picard figure and my Spock figure for my Legion of Best Captains. Anyway, this has been a nice treat. These figures are cheap now if you want them. And they're the right mixture of nostalgic entertainment and like actually great figures. I think about the early run of the 90s Star Wars figures, and they're just nostalgia. Like, they look like shit. These don't look modern, but they look good and they look consistent, and then they work in a collection. So I'm happy, and hopefully they will all be happy here. Spock does not have the live long and prosper hand, which is a little disappointing, but bye everybody.